Welcome to our How to Be Swimming in Leads this summer. It's a Crmble sales fun swimming party for this summer. I'll introduce myself more in a second, but I'm with the Crmble team and we're a Trello power up. And so this event, typically we do a lot of events focused on Trello, but we wanted to try something a little different this time and focus on salespeople. And we are a CRM for Trello, and we were like, well, we work a lot with Trello, but there's a lot of people who don't even know what Trello is, that could find a lot of value in that. And a lot of people who are using our tool are sales professionals. So a lot of you here may already be familiar with Crmble, and that may be why you're here. Some of you may not be, and you're going to learn about Crmble for the first time. So super excited for that. So we're going to go ahead and in the next hour, we're going to go into some quick introductions and housekeeping, and then you'll meet your hosts, which are me and Jeff and Donald, and we're going to talk through some of our favorite tools for generating more leads. We're going to also talk through some tactics, so different, not just specific tools that'll help you, but specific methods that'll help you actually generate those leads. And then we're also going to talk through some resources, so in terms of pieces like what are the blogs and podcasts you should be following to stay up to date with all of this. So, and in the middle of it all, we've got a fun sales trivia game that I've created for us, where we're going to have to pair the who said it. It's going to be a quote, and you're going to have to see which business leader said it. So we will play that and then have a little bit of time for some wrap up and QA at the end. So your presenters, one of them is me. My name is Brittany. Like I said, I am with the Crmble marketing team. I have worked in marketing for the last 10 years for various companies, helping them generate leads, working in small startups to larger enterprise companies. And I've even been with Crmble helping us get almost 30,000 users in our first year. So we've also got Jeff Wickersham with us. He works with sales team. Jeff, I don't know if you want to, I'll let you kind of pass over and explain yourself a little bit more.
Sure, Brittany. Thanks for having me, and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at. So my name is Jeff Wickersham. I'm the founder of Morning Fire Coaching, and I help guide entrepreneurs, business owners, leaders to develop a morning routine that gives them energy, focus, abundance, and more time in their days through my 4-step Morning Fire methodology. I'm a podcast host, #1 best-selling author, as well as a Tony Robbins award winner, and I just eat, sleep, and breathe daily habits and rituals, and they are the true foundation for success. So just excited to be here, Brittany.
Yeah, and we're super excited to have you. We've worked with Jeff before. Our founder has been on his podcast, and we've put together some blog posts and content. So super excited to have you. And Donald?
Hi, thanks so much. And I'm excited to be here. I'm a big believer in sales, all things sales. I run an organization known as the Sales Evangelist. And what we do, we evangelize the method of effective selling. Many of us fall into the categories where we feel that sales is tough or it's difficult. And oftentimes it's not that difficult if we know exactly what we're supposed to do. And that's what we do. We evangelize that method, that process. Sales doesn't have to be that tough, and we can make it easy for you. And it's fun. And I love it. And we have a podcast as well, the Sales Evangelist, been around for about almost 8 years. And we have about 3.4 million downloads. It's a fun show. And I love sales. Did I say that already? If not, I do.
I think you mentioned that, Donald, just once
Maybe
or twice,
once.
But yeah, no, and Donald's been great. We've also worked with Donald too, been on his podcast, both me and Tony, talking about different sales sort of hacks with Trello and Crmble, and different ideas there. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get started here. So everyone's main question is going to be, will this be recorded? And I'm sure this will still be posted in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer it there, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it now too. It will be recorded. It is currently being recorded, and we'll try to make it accessible at some point this week, if not as soon as later today or tomorrow. Please post questions in the chat. Make sure it's set to everyone and not any specific person. But I've got Alberto is here. He's also part of the Crmble team, so he's going to be helping kind of monitor the chat. I've got it up, but it's sometimes kind of difficult to both talk and look at the chat. So if I'm a little delayed there, my bad. And if you're having any technical difficulties, just try leaving the meeting and joining again, because that seems to resolve some of them. But also feel free to post in the chat, and I'll try to help you out with that too. So without further ado, we're going to now start on our main section or our first section, which is where we're going to talk about the tools. And we're each going to go through our favorites. And so I'm going to go through mine. We'll spend a couple minutes each, me going through mine, and then Jeff and Donald. And yeah, so that's how this is going to go. So as far as tools, I've already kind of spilled the tea here that Trello is my favorite tool for everything. I use it for everything within work, even without like outside of work. I use Trello for keeping track of my meal planning, planning trips, just my personal to-do list. But even inside of business, there's so many ways to use Trello to stay organized. Obviously, one of the biggest ones is using it to keep track of your contacts and your leads. And that's where Crmble comes in. A couple years ago, I actually built a CRM inside of Trello, which is, by the way, let me back up. Trello is a digital whiteboard. And that's how I like to describe it. It's a digital whiteboard with sticky notes on steroids that you can add due dates and labels and all sorts of other checklists and features too that you want. So it's a fantastic digital tool for helping you stay organized and keep track of info. And like I said, using it for, keeping track of tasks or keeping track of links, but also keeping track of your contacts. And I had so many people ask me, hey, can you build a CRM in Trello? And I was like, yeah, you can, make some lists for your different stages in your pipeline. And, you can add this power up to do this, and you can do all these pieces. And it kind of worked. But fast forward to about a year ago, and the Crmble team reached out to me and they were like, hey, we saw you wrote this blog post and we actually built out of the box all of these things here. And I was like, this is amazing. So now you can just, with a couple of clicks, have a Trello board that's all set up with automatic lists for your stages of your pipeline, whether it's from like new lead to cold, warm, hot, and one. You can have automatically add your leads into that by either setting up with one of our integrations with Typeform or Facebook leads, or you can connect Zapier and set all of that up another way. And also you have out of the box those custom fields. So each card, which is what those sticky notes are called, is able to show you all of the details of what your all the details you need to know about your clients. So you can see first name, last name, phone number, email, all those things you expect. You can even send emails from right within that card, so you don't even have to go to your inbox to do that. And it also has reporting out of the box. So if you need to be able to quickly see how your leads are progressing through your pipeline, you can do that really easily. So feel free. I'm not going to go through I've just scratched the surface here. There's so much more we can say about it, but we'll send you some more information about it if you're wanting to learn more about how to use it. But yeah, that's definitely my number one recommendation in terms of tools, is using that for keeping track of your contacts. I also recommend using lead gen forms. Those are great ad tools on LinkedIn and Facebook, and it's a easy way to keep track of those, get those contacts without having to send them to a landing page. I also love using Calendly. I know some others are going to mention that, and Hunter.io for finding contact info. I actually used this once when I was trying to find a job. I was like, how do I know who this person's name is. How do I find their email? Hunter is a great tool for being able to go through that and, quickly say, oh, this person is at Elastic. What is the format of their emails, and helping you find that. So great way to actually find the people you need to get in touch with. All right, Jeff, I'll pass over to you.
All right, thanks, Brittany. So a few of the tools that are definitely favorites of mine. One would be LinkedIn Sales Navigator from a finding prospect perspective, right? Because you can drill down, you can really choose your ideal client, your industry, maybe the job title you're searching for, or the niche. And it really allows you to get laser focused in where your sales and marketing efforts are at. I enjoy Google Forms from a survey market information, right? Sending a survey out, posting it on social media, gathering market information is very important as you start to develop your products and how you're going to solve a problem for a particular audience. I use ActiveCampaign for emails and kind of client nurturing. So that's been really a tool that I've enjoyed. Calendly, I know Brittany touched on Calendly. I want to take it one step further. And one thing that I've done recently is in Calendly, not only do people get invites, but you can put links into a podcast, into maybe a YouTube video you have, and you can use it to really warm up your prospects from going from a cold prospect to a warm, active buying prospect through that nurturing process. So don't forget to use those reminders that are sent out to link up to a blog, to a YouTube video, to a podcast, anything that might provide value, as well as build that know, like, and trust factor for your potential prospects. Canva is a great tool to do some quick graphics, make up marketing materials, things that you want to use and leverage to grow your business. And then lastly, YouTube for videos, ideas, right? If you have anything, you want to find out more information, more than likely it's out on YouTube. And I love also listening to YouTube just for motivation, inspiration, right? Early in the morning, obviously morning routines are what I'm about. Doing that, filling your mind with great information, with great motivation, will get you inspired to kind of move through the day. So that's where I'm at, and I will pass it over to Donald.
Nice. I love all of the tools that they're talking about already. And if you're not using Crmble, I highly recommend it. If you're in a company, you need a CRM, you need to take advantage of Crmble. Love it. And just, I think it's a great tool. All right. So the next piece that my stuff that I have here, as was mentioned, Jeff said already, Sales Navigator and LinkedIn in general, I love it. LinkedIn has made me money, like consistently, hand over fist, like all the time, get new leads and the opportunity to create content. I think the percentage is like only 3% of all LinkedIn active 666 million people that are on LinkedIn. 330 million of them are active. And of the 330 million, I think only 3% of the people are the ones that actually post content. Most of us sit on a wall, like wallflower, like a dance at like prom or whatever, and we don't share our insights. But when you share your insights, that's when the magic happens. And those people who are sharing the insights, they're getting the thing. It's like the 4 billion or 3 billion impressions per month on LinkedIn. Those people are the ones that are getting all of those impressions. So if you want to get more leads and get more opportunities, share content. So I'm a big fan of that. And also Sales Nav. Facebook group, I'm a big fan of that as well. It's a great way for you to collect, or a LinkedIn group, collect your potential ideal customers. We use it with our podcast and it's great. So we have a group called the Sales Evangelist and it's fun. Typeform is also a must. For us, we use it for our surveys. We use it for different connections. Hunter.io, big fan of that. Postal.io, a lot of these IOs, right? Postal.io, there's a resurgence of using physical mail these days. But if you want to put this into your marketing campaign to see how you're doing, Postal.io works great. So you can go on there, send a gift, and you can see what the open rate is. They actually open emails to get notified that they got the gift and all of these different things. Then you can get, it connects with Amazon and they send it for you. So you don't have to worry about shipping the products, but it's great. And we love that. Canva, again, Prezi for presentation. I love using Prezi. And then Google Drive. I used to be a hater of Google Drive, but then I saw the power of Google Drive and love it. So we use it for our files. BombBomb, we do a lot of videos, and that's what that tool is. So if you want to do a video to a prospect or to someone, like sometimes instead of writing a lengthy email, I can do a video in 30 seconds to get that point across, and they can see this amazing, beautiful face, right? And that's another way that they can hear the inflection. So that's another great tool. Otter, with our podcast and with other tools, we do transcription, but Otter, the AI in Otter is ridiculous, and it's like $10 a month. So if you take an audio file, just upload it, it will transcribe it, and it's amazing. So if you don't want to do journaling but want to do audio, just record yourself and then upload it, and you'll be amazed how accurate it'll be. PandaDoc, we use them for our proposals. Been using PandaDoc since they've been around from maybe not day one, but pretty darn close to it. And it's been a great tool for us. TikTok and Instagram. I love TikTok and Instagram. I don't manage them, my team does. And we've seen some explosive growth on those platforms and interaction. We just need quick little content to offer sales. And then Slack, we communicate on Slack with our team and also with our clients. And it's amazing. If you don't know what Slack is, it is an adult, a text messaging for businesses. So all of these adults are sitting there sending back little messages, instant message chat, and it's great. So that's me.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome list right there. Interesting. Did I draw this circle? Does anyone else see this?
Playing with a circle there.
I love that. That's great. I mean, whatever. We'll highlight the content here. Love it. So we're gonna take a pause and go to some trivia time here. And so the way this is going to work is we're doing business quote trivia, and it's going to be who said it. And I'm going to send you all a link in the chat here. It's a Google form. So if everyone wants to just bring that up, I'll give you all a second to do that. The rules here are, post the link in the chat. We'll go through the questions together, but it's up to you. The winner is going to get a Crmble package. And so what we're going to send over, I think a coffee mug, which will be the first to receive a Crmble coffee mug, a Crmble shirt, and some stickers, of course, but everyone here can get stickers. More on that in a minute. But so I was trying to come up with something a little fun and interactive, and I knew a lot of like sales stuff was kind of subjective, so there wasn't necessarily a lot of like objective answers for that. So I was like, okay, well, so I'll pick some of my favorite business quotes and some options here of who said it, and we'll just kind of go through that together. So I'll give us like 30 seconds for each one here, but once you click the link, fill out this form, come up with a fun name or just put your full name. If there's multiple like Daves here, I didn't want us to get confused who the winner was here, but just come up with something fun or put in your full name. Okay, so let's get started. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Who said it? Sheryl Sandberg or Jeff Bezos? And do not answer on here. Just fill in the answer on your Google form, and we'll keep it going here. The best investment I ever made in becoming a salesperson was changing my mindset. Grant Cardone or Jill Conrad? I feel like I need like Jeopardy music playing here or something like do 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 do. All right, failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. Og Mandino or Dale Carnegie? Treat your customers like they own you, because they do. Mark Cuban or Robert Herjavec? Do we have any Shark Tank fans here? Yes. Am I going too fast? Is this okay for everyone? Okay, good. If you double the number of experiments you do per year, you're going to double your inventiveness. Walt Disney or Jeff Bezos? Be brutally honest about the short term and optimistic and confident about the long term. Reed Hastings or John Rockefeller? I don't like to gamble, but if there's one thing I'm willing to bet on, it's myself. Was this Beyonce or Jay-Z? I'm as proud of what we do as I am I am as proud of what we don't do as I am of what we do. Jack Ma or Steve Jobs? Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. Henry Ford or Bill Gates? And then lastly, vision without execution is hallucination. Elon Musk or Ariana Huffington? All right, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and go check my score sheet. Make sure, give you all a second to look through. When you're done, go ahead and hit submit. All right. I've seen some come through. Anyone else need more time? Post in the chat. Ten, 9, 8. Oh, we have a tie. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, coming in at the last moment, we have our winner, the Boabab team. Did I say that correct? Let's see here. Can you post in the chat? Yes, perfect. Oh man, you got a 9 out of 10. Our next up, our runners up is Golden Puffs and Vins. So you all were really close there. So Boab team, send me if you can. Let's see, post in the chat, or like if you want to directly message me your email address, I'll make sure we get that taken care of with sending you the special prize package. But yeah, well done. That was amazing. 9 out of 10. I'm gonna be honest, I made the quiz and I don't think I could do that if I were to try to do that again. So here we go. Wow, very well done. Hope you all enjoyed that. I know it was maybe a little bit cheesy, but thanks for indulging me. All right, so back to the show. All right, so now we're gonna talk about tactics. And Donald, you are first up here. Take it away.
All right, so here's some tactics and things that I like to do. Building brand you. I'm a big believer in this, and especially as a salesperson. I think the average salesperson right now stays in a role, it's around 18 to 24 months, somewhere in that range. So there you go. Exactly. That's what I'm saying too. It's exciting, right? But
I'll work on that.
The idea here is that many of us don't stay in our roles long. So if we build a brand, that brand will travel with us. Too often we focus on building a brand of the company we work for. What if we build brand you? And that's a big important thing. Again, big fan of LinkedIn, and you can make that happen there. Be an expert in your niche, and that will you'll see how success happen there. A lot of salespeople typically stay within that niche that they're in anyway. So do that. Be everywhere your ICP camp out. And the idea behind this is Seth Godin really kind of stresses the idea that, we think sometimes that marketing is like big macro, but it's really, really micro. We are really confined to our own, their circles and our little pools or tribes, so to speak. So if I'm everywhere, my prospects are my ICPs, it's going to make it look like I'm everywhere in their world. It's not true. I'm not on Pinterest. I'm not on somebody, like I have a profile, but I'm not on all these other spots. But the places where they are, like LinkedIn, and if they're on, Instagram and so forth, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be present, and therefore it looks like I'm everywhere they are. Produce niche and micro content. Again, go back to the idea of TikTok, just micro content or things for your niche. We have a podcast. We have 2 podcasts. We have 3 podcasts actually, and those podcasts are really focused on the different niches within the people that we serve. Have a podcast. Hey, it works. My business literally have grown to a 14-person team because we started a podcast, or I started a podcast in my Florida room in 2013. Go figure. Speak at events for free and paid. So I've always done this. I'm a big fan of it. Speak at events, speak everywhere. Whenever someone's doing a webinar like this, I want to get there with my ideal customers. It's a great tactic. Create group. So I have a group again in LinkedIn and Facebook, and it makes it that you are a big fish in that big fish in that small pond, your community, because they know you, they see you as a subject matter expert, and you're able to have that flock around you, and you're able to have your ideal customers. And it's a great place to keep them. Again, use video to educate. Big fan of video, so use video as much as you can. We're going into the era where we've been in that era where we love videos. I spoke to you about BombBomb, but just like creating video content is also another powerful thing. Then create high target dream lists and do focus outreach to them. So you saw my tool that I recommended that Brittany also does, hunter.io. What I would highly recommend that you do is focus, that you're a sales professional, focus on that dream list, focus on the idea of the ABM or account-based marketing concept. Get your dream list of 50 to 100 clients that you would love to work with. They're ideal for you. They fit your profile. Find the key contacts within those companies that would be great to buy from you all. And then use Hunter or tools like that in LinkedIn Sales Navigator to connect with these folks and start making that targeted approach, hunting with a spear rather than trying to hunt with a net. Use snail mail, like we mentioned with Postal, and then collaborate with others. I've been able to work with the team at Crmble and been able to connect and do great sessions like this. And it's awesome because I'm able to learn from them. They're able to learn from me. They meet my community meet them. So I recommend it as well. That's me.
Awesome. Great tips there. Jeff, take it away.
Thanks, Brittany. Thanks, Donald. So some of my favorite techniques is be consistent. right? I'm all about habits and rituals and what you do on a daily basis. So be consistent in your content, be sure to deliver value. And I like to focus on one platform first and then leverage that platform and leverage the content you create, and you can use it through others. I know Donald's a podcast host. I am as well. When I have a podcast, I do video, I do audio. I leverage that video for YouTube, some other clips, and it really helps you be everywhere, but only do it one time. And that can be a huge time saver. Podcast guest appearances, right? To grow your audience. I love having people on my podcast, and I love being on other podcasts because that gives you the ability to speak to someone else's audience, grow that know, like, and trust factor, and truly get your message out to the world. This third piece I think is so critical, and many times it's lost, is be authentic and vulnerable. Right? So many people don't want to see the highlight reels all the time. They want to see the pain because we all go through it. But so many times, especially on social media, you are seeing someone's highlight reels, or you're seeing, some accomplishment that took 13 years to build, but you don't see all the work that went in. So be authentic, be vulnerable, come from a powerful place of helping, right? When it comes to sales, come from a place of helping. And then that's going to change how you speak and how your mindset is related to those conversations when you're speaking with prospects and potential customers. I love being a connector, right? With everyone in my network. I published my book last August. My author, or my publisher, my editor, was so amazing. I continually funnel people to her because she did such a wonderful job in helping edit my book. So any way you can connect people in your network, I am very firm believer in the powerful, universe overall. And if you connect, other people are going to connect you as well. When you come from that place of helping, it's very, very powerful. And the last piece is schedule it in your calendar, right? I use my calendar to schedule everything. If you're prospecting on a daily basis, schedule it in your calendar. Make sure you're attacking it, because so many times other things can pop up and kind of hit you off track. You put it in your calendar, you schedule it. Try and schedule it for every single day at the same time. Your mind and body is going to get used to doing it every single day. So you'll get in that habit, get in that ritual, and then it'll be automatic. So Brittany, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, those are some great tips. And honestly, I feel like I kind of fit in a lot with that, because I pretty much echoing everything you all just said. Partnering up with people, I'm going to go ahead and skip to my second point here. That is the single biggest thing. That's what's helped Crmble. And when you think about it, there's a lot of synergy behind if you work with other people trying to reach the same goal, trying to reach the same audience. There's, no need for everyone to bombard everyone with messages when you can all partner together and share content. And so that's been a really key factor in our growth at Crmble, is being able to partner up with other people who are trying to reach other Trello users, or trying to reach other sales teams, like something like this event. Working with those people, and it ends up actually being a better experience for your leads, because you're all working together to put the best quality content together, which actually goes with my first point. Creating high quality content and educating your audience first and help them solve their problems. I used to always think that content was kind of crap. Even though I've spent most of my time in marketing, I'm like, oh, people put a lot of fluff in blog posts and webinars and even podcasts. Do we really need more content? There's so much content out there. And while I still think to some extent that's true, I think the key is quality content, and you need to actually be helping your leads as well. And so somebody once told me, if you just try to help your ideal users or customers solve their problems, then they'll help you solve yours. And I think that's true. You don't necessarily want to do something that's completely out of the scope of your business, but at the same time, if you know who you're trying to serve, and you do things that will help them, whether it's for instance, with Crmble, we're creating a lot of content to help people run their business or to use Trello better, even if it doesn't necessarily relate to using Trello as a CRM. Because we want to be able to help them and help them to grow. And then the last thing, I think all of these things we've talked about are great and things we should all use, to try to drive leads, but there's no single best practice. So you have to actually, as much as, I hated to think it, marketing and sales kind of requires a little bit of accounting and a little bit of math, because you need to be able to understand how to look at data, how to measure your costs, and we're spending this much on this. How many leads are we getting? And is that an effective price? And I'm not going to throw all sorts of finance terms out there, but you need to make sure you have a little bit of comfort with doing that, because you have to be able to measure things. There's no secret best practice that works for every business with every client or everything. You need to be able to try different things and then measure it and do more of what works and less of what doesn't. So we will now move into our last section, talking through resources. We talked through tools and listed some of our favorites of, here's specific things you need to go download, start a free trial of today, go, add them all. We've talked through some of our favorite tactics. That's, independent of tools. Here's the sort of things you should be doing. But it's a never ending sort of journey, right? Like, these things don't end. You can't just sit and go sign up for all of these tools and start doing all of these tactics and then just, calling it quits. You need to be constantly evolving and constantly learning and growing. And so that's where I recommend, I wanted us to talk through some resources, because, this webinar is only an hour long. But obviously all of our jobs keep going, and the content we say today is hopefully still going to be relevant. Like, I think a lot of these tools and especially these tactics will be relevant for a long time, but I find it very motivational and exciting to learn with others and hear what other people are doing and trying. And so that's why I thought compiling some resources could be good for us. So Jeff, I'll pass over to you. Feel free to, talk about some of your favorites here.
Yeah, thanks, Brittany. And I love the point that you brought up, right? Constant growth. And if you can get in that mindset that you're growing each and every day, even if it's 1%, right? I think Darren Hardy said, if you grow 1% each day for an entire year, you'll be 37 times better at the end of that year than when you started. You'd look back at that individual and go, who the heck is that, right? So that's the power of just getting better, 1% better each day. So surprise, I'm a fan of podcasts and books, right? Since I have both. But Entrepreneurs on Fire is a great podcast. John Lee Dumas, I've had him on my podcast. He interviews other successful entrepreneurs, solopreneurs and business owners. How I Built This by Guy Raz. That's a great one to hear behind the scenes of how businesses are built, their story and their journey. And it's so valuable to take that information, digest it, and then how can you apply it to your business and what you're looking to accomplish. Marketing Secrets by Russell Brunson, great one, talks about marketing, how to get your Dream 100 list, how to really target prospects and clients. That's one I really enjoy. And then the Mind Your Business podcast is another one that I do really enjoy. Then a few books to share. Influence by Robert Cialdini. I'm actually reading that for the second or I don't know, even know, it could be the third time now. And that's one thing I do highly recommend. Books, read them multiple times, because you'll be in different places in your life when you read them, and you'll pick different value out of them each time you do that. So that's definitely a key piece. 7 Secrets to Selling More by Selling Less by Alan Langer. Great book, coming from the idea of helping, related to sales. And then Traffic Secrets is another by Russell Brunson. And before I shift it off, podcasts, I mentioned YouTube before. One thing I do on a daily basis is I have my AirPods on or this headset on. And if I'm making breakfast, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm listening to a YouTube video. If I'm driving in my truck, I have a podcast on. Any way you can leverage your time and fill those gaps with valuable information that you can learn and take action from, it's so critical to being more efficient and really growing. And so many times we fill it with fluff, either the news or mute. You have time slots in your days where you can fill it with podcasts, Audible, audiobooks, YouTube videos, whatever it is, and continue to grow and learn. So that would be my challenge to everybody is that time. If you're not leveraging it now, definitely leverage it that time and grow each and every day.
Yeah. I love that, Jeff. And not to put you on the spot, but like, are there any specific, you mentioned YouTube, like inspirational, motivational accounts. So what are some of your favorites? Like, who do you recommend? Because you mentioned that earlier and I was like, yeah, I used to do that, but now I haven't done that in a while. Do you just like YouTube, like inspiration, or like, are there certain people you follow?
You definitely can. I'm a huge David Goggins fan. I ran his 4x4x48 run in March. So that's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight. So I love his story. Jocko Willink is another one. Tony Robbins, obviously, I'm in a group of his. So definitely go out there. You could do motivation, but those are kind of the three that I follow and definitely listen to.
Yeah, that's awesome. And feel free to, if you want to tell us a little bit more about your podcast too, the Morning Fire. I know like you're focused on morning routines for entrepreneurs and stuff, but what can we expect more from your podcast? Don't feel free to give a shameless plug here.
Yeah, sure. So yes, the podcast is called Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs, and Wednesdays I interview a entrepreneur, solopreneur, successful about their journey, as well as their go-to morning habits or rituals. I think that's so important. That's the foundation, I believe, for success. So I love to get what other people are doing. So I do that on Wednesdays, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, it's just a short snippet, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, where I give a topic, speak about it briefly, and then hopefully move the needle in your world just a slight bit so you can change and continue to grow.
Love that. That's awesome. Donald, your turn. What are some of your favorite resources?
Well, I had to do that shameless plug.
Yes, please do. Please do it.
Right at the top there. The Sales Evangelist podcast is a pretty darn good podcast. And we interview sales reps, entrepreneurs, sales leaders, and we get from them things that they're working on. We have over 1,400. So I learned from John Dumas back at New Media Expo way back in the days. And I started producing a lot of content. And then one of the things that we saw was that our community wanted to look at it a little better. So we started a theme. So each podcast episode now is a part of a mini series or a theme. So right now we're going through getting past the gatekeeper, I believe, on our podcast. So we have 6 guests that come on each of those episodes. So we focus on that. So we tackle each areas, every micro niche of the sales process. We're going to bring experts on to talk about that. How I built this by Guy and met him at Podcast Movement a couple of years ago. Had the fortunate opportunity introduce him on stage. Love that show. Business Wars. Love it. Business Wars is an awesome podcast as well. And that one, they look at 2 major brands and they do, almost like storytelling, like in the history of what happened. So like Coke versus Pepsi, Nike versus Adidas, and you hear all the cool backstories, and it's fun. Foundering is a neat one. They did one on WeWorks, which is really, really interesting. So it's about how the whole story behind this company, how they, came from where they are to where they are today, where they were to where they are today. Marketplace, got to get the numbers in, right, Brittany? With Kai,
Absolutely.
Kai Rizdal, you got to get that marketplace each day. ABM, so books, ABM is B2B. This is fantastic. So for those who are in the marketing world or those in the sales world, ABM, and I clarify that if you don't understand it, it's account-based marketing. So it's a strategy of being, again, focused rather than getting a list and just making a cold call to everyone on the list. Can we hyper-focus with sales and marketing going in partnership and target these accounts? We're going to reach out to them on LinkedIn, these 5 people in this account. We're going to send them this gift. We're going to do a follow-up here. We're going to track them here. And it's really, really just it's a football play that we're working on together. And it's usually quarterbacked by the marketing department. The Big Leap is also an awesome book because it helps you to get outside of your comfort zone and to get into making that leap into something bigger. And sometimes sales reps will go for smaller deals. I've come to learn that the price or the time it takes to close a small deal is often about the same amount of time it takes to close a large deal. So go for the large deals, and they're more rewarding. Then The Power of Habits, also going back, nod to Jeff there. I know they're kind of in the habit world. Big fan of that. I love that book. It helps me to understand a little bit more about my day-to-day performance and how I can make sure I focus on the right habits, especially as a salesperson. Then How to Get a Meeting with Anyone. This is Stu Heineke's book, and it's a fantastic book. And the concept here is how we can use creative ways. He calls it contact-based marketing, to be able to send things in the mail and connect with them. Essentialism, focus on that one thing, kind of like that same book there. You've heard of The One Thing. It's Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Love that book as well. Are we sometimes, trying to get like 10,000 priorities? He emphasized that the word in its original form, priority, can only have one singularity. But later on when the industrial era came around, we started making that a plural word when it's priorities, but you only can have one. So anyways, check that out. Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt for the sellers in the room here. Awesome book. And Jeb is a great dude as well. So you can check all those books out and take advantage of them.
I love essentialism. I think I've probably read it twice now, but I will never forget the graphic from it of the circle with like a bunch of arrows coming out all sorts of different directions. And it's like you're doing a bunch of effort, but it's not really going anywhere because you're pushing it out all sorts of ways. But then there's the other circle with all of those same arrows, but like stacked on top of each other, and you see how far up it goes. So that visual just like always sticks with me.
That's why you need to use Trello, right? To stay organized.
Exactly. Yes, you got to use Trello to keep on track there and make sure you're not like that's actually one of the things I do is when I'm building out like Trello boards, I have labels for my priorities, which I realize it is funny, but like my key, areas I want to focus. And if I add something to that board and I'm like, I don't know what label to put on it, then that's a quick indication to me that it doesn't fit with one of my main priorities. And so like, what am I doing with it? So yeah, it's actually very true. Trello helps me with that a lot. So lastly, we'll go through some of my recommendations here. I've spent most of my time in marketing, so no surprise, mine are pretty marketing related, but podcasts, there's two I recommend. The Marketing Companion by Mark Schaefer. It is probably the only marketing podcast that I've listened to almost every single episode of, just because it's great content. And I feel like there's a lot of podcasts out there that are like, here's a tactical thing you can do right now, which is great. We need those, but this is more of like thinking through, longer term sort of stuff, like thinking about big ideas in like the future and also kind of stuff that's already happening right now. So I really like that. Everyone Hates Marketers. I like that podcast because one, it's true, but also that's kind of more of the balance side of like some more like actionable sort of stuff and some like bite-sized sort of nuggets to kind of go through and to digest and start running away with immediate sort of action items from. So love those. In terms of books, I recently read this book called Alchemy, which has become my favorite book in all of marketing. It's called Alchemy, the Dark Art and Curious Science of Creating Magic in Brands, Business, and Life. It's a long title, but one of the things that's always frustrated me about sales and marketing is you can do all of the right things and it doesn't work. And you're like, wait a minute, but no, I followed the rules. I did the best practices. And you're like, why doesn't it work? This book shows you why. It shows you how like there are illogical things that happen, or like how basically you have to do things that don't follow the conventional wisdom to actually have success. And it brings a lot of order to what feels like illogical and a lot of like, well, why did this work for this person? That doesn't even make sense. Like, exactly. That's this book walks you through like the fact you have to sometimes do things that don't make sense to get to where you need to go there. So I thought it was a really great read. I don't always keep books. I usually will read them and then give them to the library or something, or like donate them. But this one I kept because I've marked up like so many quotes and different things in it. So highly recommend that. Contagious by Jonah Berger. That's another great one that I really like because it's just a great way of showing like how basically ideas spread. And it's, you might think, oh, I have this great idea. And you're like, I posted about it like on YouTube once and it didn't take off. Why? This book kind of explains it. The 10X Rule is another book that's by Grant Cardone. I remember reading that, and I know it's like it's one of those like typical sort of sales books. And I would, in marketing was like, yeah, is this really gonna be relevant? But I thought it was actually a really good book, and made me think about kind of what you mentioned with the big leap is that, if you think bigger, like you're gonna have bigger returns, and it's usually not like 10x work, but you can get 10x returns kind of thing. So very cool. And then in terms of blogs, I don't follow a lot of blogs very religiously. I will be honest about that. But the Crmble blog does try to create content that is really helpful for, getting those contacts into Crmble so you can manage them. We have stuff about like best like resources for businesses and things like that. And then I also recommend the animals content blog. So if you're writing content, it's a great way to think outside the box. And in my opinion, is one of the few blogs that doesn't like cheesily just put out fluff about, make things. So, yeah. So those are our recommendations. Gone through some tools, tactics, and resources. I'll go ahead and open up the floor for a few minutes. Are there any questions? I don't think seen any come through in the chat, but if I've missed them, feel free to re-raise them. If anybody wants to come off mute, you can, raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask a question if you'd like, or feel free to just post it in the chat. I'll ask a question of our presenters here. What is your favorite hype up song?
You want to go first, Jeff?
I love, I'm from Philadelphia, so Eye of the Tiger, Rocky is like my go-to in the morning when I'm doing a little workout. I just gets that underdog mentality, that fight mentality that I love to bring to the day. So I'm gonna go with that one.
That's a good one. You can't go wrong with that.
So mine right now, the one that I listen to a lot to get pumped up, it's called The Box. I'm not sure if anyone have heard of that, but it's a hip hop song, but it gets me get that juice flowing. So you can go check that out. It's my latest one right now.
Yeah. Okay. Have to look that one up. Alberto says, "Here Comes the Sun." That's a good one. Mine is Levels by Avicii, which look it up if you haven't heard it, but it's not even really, there's no lyrics to it. It's just a melody, I guess, or a tune. I don't know what you would call it, but no words to it. But speaking of Tony Robbins, the reason that song became my hype song is because I went to his Unleash the Power Within event several years ago in Florida, and I think he played that song at it, and it was just like, I don't know, I now associate so much with that. And then that used to be my, like, when he's like getting peak state in the morning, like that was my peak state song. And like, so that song's just really stuck with me, and I listen to it pretty much every time. Like, I love airplanes, so I listen to it like every time I take off in an airplane, and so that song just like makes me very excited. So cool. Well, I don't see any other questions in here. We covered all of the content perfectly and have taught everyone everything there is to know about sales and marketing,
I think pretty much did everything they need to know. They don't need to go and do any other research.
Exactly. If y'all think of any questions, feel free to reach back out. You'll be getting an email from us soon with a recording, and feel free to, if anything comes to mind, reach out with that. But before I let you all go, I do want to give you this link where you can request a Crmble sticker if you would like one, putting it in the chat. And also, if you would like a swimming in leads Crmble or background for your Trello boards, also posting that here. And we'll include these in the wrap-up email as well. So don't worry if you don't save the links here. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. I learned things, so hopefully you all did as well. So yeah, thanks everyone, and have a great summer and enjoy swimming in leads.